Hello, everybody. Welcome to Cyber Kriya, the home of enterprise wisdom, one podcast at a time. Today's guest is a very special one in a sense. I think he's not from the cyber world, but he's kind of from the SAP world, and he's doing or leading and transformations for different customers, and also maybe seeing what is happening in the SAP world. We all know we met in Sapphire. We actually had our own. He also run his own podcast, so maybe we'll talk about that in later. We met in Sapphire second time. We did some video as well with him. It is somebody I would love to inspire. I think I'm looking to him for inspiration too. But I will not take a lot of thunder from him. I will maybe let him give him time to introduce himself. So please join me to welcome Ashish Katyayan to the show. Ashish, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Gaurav, and hi everyone, whoever's watching. And it's really an honor and also this opportunity Gaurav has given me to talk to you all. I do remember meeting Gaurav about 2 years back, and he's this passionate guy who's giving a talk on cybersecurity. He's showing off his book. A book is something I always wanted to write, but never got to it. But kudos to you, Gaurav. Thanks for doing that. And to all the people who are able to do that. Anyways, so a little bit about myself. So I started and grew up in a boarding school for 12 years of my education. Just giving a little bit background. And, I was into a lot of sports and a lot of studies also to make sure I'm kind of balancing the two. But I took like the commerce subjects and always wanted to be on the business side of the house. As a kid, I always was passionate about business. I would go to business, like family business, right? Our distribution point, which my brother is running now for Nestle. And I would sit there and I would watch my dad kind of, manage that business, run that organization. We also have like apple orchards back home in India. So I would be very keenly interested in how these people are managing and ordering people around. That's all I thought about business. It's about you're the boss and you're managing things, right? But then obviously things have changed when I'm actually leading an organization, which is much more a very, I would say, rewarding experience, right? Anyway, so that's kind of my background. Then I did my BCom and the MBA in India, and I worked in my father's business for 2.5 years. I feel like those were kind of the foundational years for me to be able to see like how customer service works, how the IT side of the house works, and then how all that connects together to finances, profits, PL, balance sheet, etc. And me being a finance guy, I could connect the dots easily. However, during the time I went back to my father's business, I also saw a lot of like computer systems and IT softwares coming into play that could automate a lot of the manual things that were happening in the manual journals. So I helped my father implement software, which made our life much easier, more organized, more visibility into things. And that was kind of my first foray into business transformation. Little did I know that I'll get into this amazing world of SAP business transformation. And my friend recommended me to do SAP FICO course. That's where I kind of, dive deeper. I got the opportunity to work for IBM for 6 years. And then I met some amazing people at Deloitte, worked at Deloitte for about 11 years and then at KPMG for a year, right? So very, very thankful for all those opportunities where I got to be part of the SAP ecosystem, got to know some very amazing people, both on the client side, on the consulting side, and then also like on the SAP ecosystem in general, the SAP company, professionals, etc. Right? Solving some of the most complex problems, most challenging, situations for our clients, right? And being part of these very large organizations. Essentially, I feel like, because that experience was so unique, we traveled like different parts of the US, sometimes also to Europe and different I think once I've been to Mexico and Canada also, right? But I think like this entire like kind of it was a dream to be part of the corporate world and do some amazing things. I'm very, very thankful that I got to be part of these organizations and then serving our clients, right? So learned a lot over there. But at the back of my head, Gaurav, I always wanted to be like an entrepreneur. So I kept thinking about ideas, what I'm going to do, etc. So logically, it made sense that, hey, this is what you're good at and this is what you've been doing for the past so many years. So let's dive into it and make some things happen. The other thing what I always saw, like there's an opportunity to improve and give a better experience to the clients and to the talent. So there's always room for improvement, right? And somehow I felt like in the job I was not having, I mean, all amazing organizations, but in general, like I felt like I could do more in terms of contributing to society and in general, like for the talent and for the businesses that are looking for the services, right? So that's where I dive deeper into the business side. And again, we kept at it, one man army initially, then 3 or 4 of us joined and it did one small transformation project. Then we got like one of the I led finance there. We helped them solve some very challenging situations and then got more opportunities where we had almost like 150 to 160 people working for our clients. And then, amazing, I think, problems we're solving over there. And in general, I feel like, the way the organization has grown in the 3 years, it's just a dream that is kind of, sometimes I feel like, is this real or not? But it's been an interesting thing. I'm sure I can share some more details around it, but that's a very long intro for you. But I'll pass it back to you, Gaurav, if you have any additional questions there.
Well, I loved it, Ashish. I think I was imagining that apple orchard, and then I think I was thinking like, what is my thumbnail? I already got my thumbnail for this podcast, right? A guy from I don't know. It's an inspiring story, Ashish, and I got multiple things there. So I would love to visit back home in India, maybe see your apple orchard as well. But thank you. This is really inspiring. And I also saw or heard, I think when I was researching on your profile, the IBM time. So I was at IBM as well, I think maybe the same time. So I was thinking maybe we were probably on the same time, maybe we'd have met. I don't know, but we met finally in the Sapphire. And I love the way you said you kind of trying to change or maybe, I don't know, add more value to the customer. And then you say started from one man to now you have 150 plus, I believe, both in US and India. And then when I met your team, like all the young kids, right? So I always feel like there were those young kids coming to SAP word is always inspiring to me because I always believe you don't pick SAP happens to you. So even for, I think listening to what you're saying, right? You kind of be a commerce background and a finance background, but then and did some training and then got into IBM. So it's kind of somehow it happens, right? There's all this other people I get to talk, and one of the reasons I'm doing this podcast is just like to get somebody like you on the podcast as a guest and hear those stories which you probably will not get to hear, right? So this is more, I would say, for me to learn. So Ashish, again, thank you and welcome to the show. This was a really good introduction.
Thanks, Gaurav. And see, what I feel like it's always two-way, right? We all learn from our people who are in our communities and people who are part of our like day-to-day interactions. Like we're having this conversation. I'm going to take something from this. I'm sure the people who are listening, they're going to also take something good, right? And they maybe give us some feedback to improve. So I feel like I'm very thankful for the people like my family, obviously my parents, even my grandparents, and everyone, like my wife and my daughter and my brother and everyone. I feel like our team, Katbotz team, everyone in our kind of ecosystem and the community around us has helped us achieve what we have achieved right now. And all of us are dependent on each other for our successes, for the challenges we face, and we support each other, right? So, like, we get into a situation in the business which may not be perfect, right? And just a small kind of correction there. So, we reached the 160, 170 mark in Catbots. Now we are back to 180 because one of our engagement got over, and we did a very amazing job with designing and building a system which was for a large merger. But then we kind of transitioned from that particular engagement. Now we are back in the market looking for our next client. There are some conversations, Gaurav, there that are going on around the AI space. We are helping solve some of the AI related use cases, like for the order management and kind of how that connects back to AI systems that are available in the market. So I'm very excited about the new projects that are opening up for us. And I feel like we are very well positioned because we got this amazing talent that is from fresh from the colleges, but they know, like, how the AI is supposed to work. And I myself, like, when the AI started, I was always curious, and I'd left Deloitte that time and KPMG. So I was always curious to deep dive. And luckily on Facebook, I got this ad from MIT like, hey, there's an AI course happening. I joined that 2 years back, and I learned how the end to end architecture and what the latest thinking is on that. And you know how MIT, like, the professors were really amazing. They did a great job. They taught us all the end to end and how to be a strategist with that sort of a mindset. So I'm excited about that. So we are like about 80 people, including interns and backend staff and everyone in US and India. So just wanted to make sure that number is accurate.
No, no, we're not gonna, I guess, conflict or think a question on that. But yeah, thank you for that,
Yeah, yeah.
Ashish. And you mentioned about AI. So I want to cover and go on to AI and the what we heard and what we saw in Sapphire and the post Sapphire world. We kind of on a transition phase, as you said, right? The AI is coming and the SAP world is also changing as well, which is kind of a new for all of us and we have to learn. But before I go there, I do want to maybe somebody listening who kind of want to go on the same path as you have kind of walked on. There's always a thing like they are into this IT and consulting. They all think they want to do something on their own. So I want to touch that part before we deep dive into the SAP world. Any kind of advice, any lessons learned you want to share on you based on your journey, what you have kind of learned for anybody who's listening who may want to go on the same path as you kind of walking?
So mainly, thanks for asking that question. I want to always share and give back to the community and the people, like the younger people and the younger entrepreneurs who are starting, right? So mainly, I think the foundation of what you want to do and where you're starting your journey, I think that's important. Like, hey, this is my dream. This is where I'm going to go, right? And but really believing in that dream, because always having this high goal, which is difficult to reach, is very important, because then your beacon or where you're headed is like somewhere great place, where you want to go. So please keep that and always have hope towards that. I would say that you are going to make it happen, not just hope, but then also take action towards that, right? So that's one part. And then the foundational things I feel that really work nicely, and the support I got from my parents and from the people around me, that's been like amazing. Very thankful for that. But obviously, I had to be this person who's ready to receive that. So I think it does boil down to you are ready to receive it or not. And amazingly enough, I was also open to try this Buddhist practice from Japan. It's amazingly like helped me, and my mentor, Dr. Daisaku Ikeda, he's been like a true inspiration, even the most difficult and challenging circumstances. And business is always not like a cakewalk, right? There's always challenges going to happen from different angles, but your determination and your spirit to do the things in the right way really matters. And that spiritual foundation, I felt like that gave me really that a way for me to be successful in these difficult circumstances. That foundation has given me, hey, no matter what, do the right things for people, make the good karmas and make the good things, then the universe is going to come back and, it's going to almost like collude to make you successful. Once you're ready to receive stuff and you're a sincere guy and you're putting the right kind of effort towards the community, towards like the country where you're working, towards the people who are part of that country, and in general, like just thinking about the goodness that you can spread across the world, right? So I think that's the second part of the foundational success. But then of course, tactically, like on a day-to-day basis, what you're doing and really kind of executing is like very important, right? So there I've had like many situations where I felt like, man, this is like very challenging. I don't know how I'm going to get out of this, but then keep on going at it on a very, very regular and daily basis, just kind of chipping away at the problem and continue to do that with this passion and energy. It will definitely get you to the success. There's also like one more thing I want to share is that actually like part of the same organization, Gaurav, there was one person when I started the business, and there's always mixed reviews. They're like, hey, you have a very good job, you're making good amount of money, and you got a good retirement plan and everything. So why don't you just continue with that? So then this person, when I started the business, this person said, don't tell you that you cannot do that. I'm just paraphrasing that, but don't let anyone take that away from you. So it's like, you got to really make up your mind and say, I am going to do that no matter what, right? This is a win or lose, and I'm going to win in this battle, right? And I'm going to forge ahead and make the things happen. So it's your single minded determination to make the things happen. So I wouldn't say like, hey, the success is mine. There are many people who are colluding towards that. But really thankful for like my team, people who are like supporting me on a daily basis, my family, and obviously the larger ecosystem, our clients and everyone for trusting me with those responsibilities. So good question. I think it was the what they call it, like a easy ball, softball or something, right? So I could answer that, but yeah, thanks for asking that, Gaurav.
So I would love to know more about. I think you mentioned about Buddhism and you mentioned about mentor. So I don't know if you want to share now or maybe if you can, we will probably connect on that one. But that's really good. So do you think that having a mentor and that whole spiritual kind of a kind of a path or kind of this is something you had it even before you thought of starting your journey, or is it kind of a you did because of I mean, I want to hear more about it, maybe just for a few seconds if you can, and then maybe we'll go into our SAP
Yeah.
conversations.
Yeah, it's been an interesting one, right? So when I was in college and schooling wise, also I was very focused kid and very much into my business stuff, like say work stuff, and kind of really putting 100% into it, right? But then along the way, you get distracted and you become the party animal and going and doing certain things in your career, like which is not very career focused and stuff. Even though I was like into a lot of bodybuilding and kind of, going into my dream was to be a movie actor and do the Bollywood movies and stuff.
You
So
can
I
still
did
do
do
that,
that.
right? Yeah. Okay. You can still try for that, right? No, there's
Yeah,
never,
maybe
right?
like
Yeah.
I could be a producer or a director. We need to get
Okay.
better at that. Anyway, so that's been my kind of thing I want to do as a younger person, to be in the fame and all that stuff. Okay. Anyway, so I went back and did this. I wanted to do the IIMs and be part of the Indian Institute of Management, which is very difficult to pass that exam, right? And that didn't happen. Anyways, I did my MBA from Pune University, which was again a great experience. I got to meet a lot of cool people there, still in touch with them. So now comes my time to get my job. I had not worked hard in my career and really focused. So I felt like that job did not happen. My career didn't take off. So I happened to be in Kulu in my hometown and work for my dad, which was a rewarding experience. That's where I met my family, like, my wife, Priyanka, and that kind of, blossomed in a very different way. And I got introduced to Buddhism, and I realized, like, hey, the karmas that I'm making on a day to day basis, and Buddhism talks about thought, word, and action, right? Your thought, word, and action can change your destiny if you get control of that. But the human mind is very fickle and very much kind of, I feel like it can change according to the circumstances, and you can go up and down based on what's going on in environment. But how do you kind of, channel your energy in the right way? So that's where the Buddhism come into the play. And once I realized, hey, I can change my destiny and I'm in control of my destiny because I can control my thought, word, and action, and I can make it go in the direction I want it to go. Right. So then I became very passionate about the practice. And, I support our local chapter, I support our district, I took on more responsibility. It helped me like really center myself and also like become a better human being, and it keeps you in check in a way that when you do the chanting or you go to the meeting, then it keeps you like in check, like, hey, this is who you are as a human being, these are some improvements you need to make, right? Once you do it on a consistent basis, Gaurav, when you're in check spiritually, at least I needed it. So then, it kept me like going in the right direction. So that's how Buddhism came into play. But I think the role of the mentor is very important. Dr. Daisaku Ikeda, right? He's got like over, I think maybe close to 400 honorary like degrees, accolades from worldwide. He's no more with us. He passed away a couple of years back. When he was alive, right, he's written like a lot of amazing content and commentary on Buddhism and books, etc. So try to see like what this person's about and what he has written, and try to imbibe those teachings in my life and be overall a better human being, on a day to day basis. So I feel like that was a bit of like that was a pivotal kind of relationship for me that I needed in order for me to really become a better person. And also, like, this Buddhism is not about like a go on the mountain and try to practice it away from the realities of life, but fight it out in the day to day life, like in your relationship, your health, your finances. So it can help you like turn around those things, right? So rightfully so, I did like the good things in the practice and try to like support my members and also take care of the community, etc. So it helped me become a better person there, and also a more determined individual in terms of the business, so it helped me a lot that way, Gaurav.
Thank you, Ashish, for sharing. I think when probably I will be kind of texting you, calling you just to know more about it. I think I would just love to know more about. And then we are saying that in different forms, right? So there's a book I'm fan of. I don't know how much. Maybe you also read books. I think which shows that thing because it's showing in your expressions of kind of what you're saying. You're giving back. You kind of on the spiritual path, and also I heard action multiple times there. So cyber kriya. That's why you have to take actions, and then you have to. And you can always dream. You have a goal, but you also have to make sure you kind of add your actions into it so that the games become the goals or a dream become reality for you. So there's a book I think by Robin Sharma. I think it talks about 8 forms of wealth, similar to like you said your family, your spiritual, your health, your job, your passion, whatever. So I kind of hearing that and I was kind of listening to it. It seemed like you already have your different forms of wealth. It's not just one form, which is money. We always see money as the only form of the wealth. Wealth is beyond money, right? So I was connecting to what you were saying, Ashish. So thank you again for sharing that. And again, I would be calling you to know more about it, maybe more one-on-one, just to kind of something I can learn. And we always have to keep improving, right? A big fan of Atomic Habit, like 1% of improvement every day can be transformational in your life, right? So thank you, Ashish.
Yeah. No, I think what you're talking about, Gaurav, right there is karmas, and these same concepts are explained in different spiritual practice differently, and they come out in books, etc. But ultimately, there is a certain streamlined path towards like our life, that we can lead. But then that's a streamlined path is, you could call it the law of the universe, or you could call it like maybe like something prescribed by some good wise person, or it could be like what the God is teaching, etc. Right? But there's certain things that we got to do in our life that are the right way and the right way of living, right? So I feel like those things kind of connect. Is Robin Sharma the same person who wrote like The Monk Who Sold the Ferrari,
Yeah,
or that's different?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
okay.
same.
Oh,
Yeah.
by the way, there's a coincidence there, Gaurav.
Okay.
So, like when I started this practice, right before that, someone has gifted me that book, The Monk Who Sold the Ferrari, and I happened to come to America after that,
Okay.
like when I started the career and everything. So it's kind of mystical, like how all those things kind of connect together, and then I got introduced. My intent of going to the practice was just to hang out with people and maybe get to meet some new people, and it was never about like any kind of a spiritual transformation. But then life will kind of push you in a direction which attracts you, right? And you'll try to go in that direction. So I think I'm thankful for that experience. Yeah, definitely we can connect one on one, and I can share more.
Yeah, because I always feel like, we kind of on a we have seen a lot, but there's a new generation coming up, all these young kids coming up, right? So how do you kind of also pass this wisdom, whatever wisdom we had in, as you
Yeah.
said, there are different kind of form of wisdom, whether it's original or anything, right? So there's we also kind of own it for I know for the next generation, for our kids and also. And again, thank you, Ashish. So maybe let's switch gear now for our audience in the world we live, in the world you kind of leading your all the transformations work you're doing for customers. You mentioned AI multiple times, and we went in Sapphire. So if I have to ask, Ashish, so how do you see the SAP world? Because you're pretty close to different customers and helping them solve business problems. How do you see the SAP world change pre-Sapphire and the post-Sapphire, especially on the AI? And what are you doing today to kind of make sure we are in that right path and also kind of helping organizations on the whole their transformation journey, embedding AI into it?
Yeah, I think like Sapphire is this amazing event which brings like a lot of like people from our backgrounds, and a lot of people who are like very closely working with SAP to bring the change, and especially the North America businesses are there, right? So I felt like, first of all, it's a bit of a like a push, like for us to kind of take our game to the next level. It shows you like there's a lot of I would say a lot of opportunities out there, right? That can be tapped into, right? So I felt like the Sapphire event was this push, for us, And there's like a lot of this inspiring sessions that SAP team organizes. Mainly, like, the AI story was there before Sapphire, it's there after Sapphire. But with Sapphire, it becomes more clearer how and what SAP is doing there. And also, like, it's a way for us to connect with SAP leadership, connect with our customers, and connect with our friends and ecosystem to kind of create this excitement. So, and also make yourself visible, and share your marketing, etc., those type of things. But concretely, like, couple of things. One was definitely a great team building for us. Like, we were six of us there on the floor, and a much younger crowd over there, right, from our side. But they enjoyed it. They thoroughly enjoyed it. We made some reels and stuff. We did the interview with you, which was good. And just kind of, bonding together. I hung out with this younger group and we went out for meals, etc., to understand how they are and what their generation is looking for, etc., kind of things, right? So I think that was kind of good from Katbotz standpoint. We also rallied together in the Katbotz areas to how to kind of market and position ourselves. Now, but the real thing is what we are building, right, Gaurav? Because the real thing the customers are going to buy is, hey, what do you know and what are you building that will help me solve the problem? So what we are doing at the back end, and the SAP is very supportive that way. We are going into our landscapes, public cloud landscape, and BTP, AI, and BDC. We have activated these things in our SAP provided test and demo systems. So what we are doing with that is that we are actually coding with Joule. We're going to start to code with Joule. We've almost like implemented that. And then that Joule can also like talk to like Claude and other APIs we're going to build outside of our environment, which SAP has provided us. And we have taken that on the it's available on free basis and some payments you have to do, etc., right? So we're building this like a development landscape that we can showcase to our clients and make it real, not just like talking about AI, but real use cases that we're going to make it live. So I felt like Sapphire gave that clarity, and also it helped us like build these and build the connection. Because when we have to solve problems in the SAP ecosystem, it's not just like one person. It's like, it takes a village, to solve these problems, because these systems we are talking about, they're complex, like cloud systems that we need to connect and talk to each other, activate certain things to achieve the business outcomes that our clients are looking for. So I felt like in terms of real build type activities, it is helping us and make it real, for our clients. So I'm excited about that. Other than that, I felt like in general, the energy and the team members, I got to meet some of the my Deloitte colleagues, ex-Deloitte colleagues, and also some people from the ecosystem. Also got to meet some other entrepreneurs and discuss with them. So I felt like Sapphire has made it a bit more like a push, for us, and also leadership messaging, etc. But now the real thing is, Gaurav, what we do on a day-to-day basis with that. Because, clients are going to ask us the question that, hey, how do you really achieve the business objective? Do I really need to put this much amount of money here? So what am I going to get in return? So those type of things we need to make it real for our clients.
So are you kind of hearing different questions from your customers post Sapphire or Ashish, or is it a like is it something you have seen? Like there's a difference in the way they're kind of questioning the new word we are going into it, or is this the same? Or anything
Yeah.
you want to share there?
I think many of the people are like still not there in terms of using AI, and they don't feel the sense of urgency. But at the same time, it is upon us. If a business, you can see Kodak, right? I mean, Kodak had the opportunity and they were the leading players in the camera and film space,
Yeah,
and they had the
yeah.
opportunity to pivot and change their business model, but they did not. If you have money right now in business, doesn't mean you're going to have it for the rest of the life, or this company is going to stay for eternity. You got to pivot at times, right? You got to see what's going on in the market. If you don't do that, then you're going to be left behind. So I'm not saying like we need to jump at AI, like just go and implement it. You got to see like how you can use it to accelerate your business. And that applies to all of us. If we don't pivot and don't use this opportunity, we're going to let it go. Right. So I feel like very thoughtfully, we all need to kind of, make that happen. More so the larger companies. I think I'm sure they have like a lot of brilliant minds and a lot of amazing people out there that are thinking through that part. At least based on the two projects that we have got inquiries for, I am seeing like people are kind of getting excited about this. They want to implement it and make some real use cases happen with the AI. And even with, I feel like with SAP AI and SAP investing like 100 million euros in the next couple of years, I feel like that is in itself a good kind of investment that's going to help propel the network forward. So, like, consultants are going to be able to build these use cases and then implement it for our clients. And the clients also and then willing to see, oh, this is the POC, it works. Okay, let me see what we can do with it. So I feel that way it's going to start changing.
So 5 years from now or 10 years from now, Ashish, if you have to predict our SAP world, and do you have kind of any predictions or like how our world would be looking? Is it all we'll have all agents and AIs and we'll still be doing what we're doing today?
See, first of all, one thing, right, Gaurav, we all need to change according to the times, and nothing stays the same, right? So when we started SAP, remember, like, there's always transaction codes, and we went to Fiori apps. Then we talk about analytics, and this, and then came GPT, then came Claude. So life is always changing. We are growing older by the day. So at some point, we are not going to be here on the planet Earth, and I believe we're going to go somewhere and come back here or something, like if we believe in afterlife and things like that. But I feel in 5 years, there's a tremendous amount of opportunity that people are not looking at, right? There's opportunity to implement AI. There's opportunity to create AI. Because right now, what is there in the market? There is so much amount of cloud space, so much amount of data centers, so many cool infrastructure has been created, right? And so many amazing, like, these large language models and things like that. How are we really using it to achieve business objectives? Who is going to learn that and implement it for the businesses? Because there are thousands of businesses that need to serve the customers. So all of us, like, need to get into that and learn that part, right? So the way I see it, yeah, we are of course going to be a lot more automated. Probably the robots are going to be able to, like, do a lot more, like, tasks for us, etc. But I also see, like, this one of the SAP leaders was kind of explaining AI does not take jobs, but it creates different kind of jobs. Like, say for example, YouTube came about. Okay, YouTube created new jobs, content creator. How do you shoot a film? Like, look at what we are doing here. We can reach out to so many people now, right? So, and if you think of it from a positive angle standpoint, it's like how we are advancing humanity, how we're creating a better quality of life. I think, but at the same time, the human being needs to be in the loop so that it just doesn't benefit like a small set of people, but it benefits more people. AI and in general, kind of, I think there's a good thought process going on around this, and there's a good discussions. I'm sure we go in the right direction. But yeah, definitely I see a lot more automation, a lot of change happening, and businesses evolving. Maybe like we get the smaller sizes of businesses more, Gaurav, because of all this automation that's available to us, and more leaner organizations that are going to make the things happen with overheads.
So I try to like at least get something for we have a diverse audience. So there may be customers listening to us, somebody who kind of work as a their own kind of a customer, or there may be consultant who are SAP folks, right? Functional security folks. So if I may, maybe so let's try to tackle one audience at a time. So maybe start with the consultant space. So if I'm a SAP, maybe a FICO consultant or SAP ABAP or even security, that's what kind of that side. So what's one thing, or maybe if you want to share more than one thing, they should be doing today to make sure they don't. We always say there's a risk of losing jobs. People will not have jobs. As you said, it will probably create new jobs, right? So how do somebody like me or finance or OTC or whatever functional, what they should be doing today to make sure they are still relevant, they ride on that AI journey and also doing whatever next we're going to do in SAP, maybe 2, 3, 5 years down the line.
Yeah, I would say, like, don't be like a person who is kind of letting this opportunity go by. You guys have the, I would say, the talent and the capability to really dive into it, because you have already learned a lot of the complex things, right? And you have the work ethic to make these things happen, right? Because mostly the consultants and the professionals I've worked with, they're very passionate about what they do. But at the same time, Like if you stay away from learning what AI is doing and what are the new use cases coming and how agentic or large language models or like predictive AI, how all these things are going to change your area or your domain, and you're going to not be relevant right at that point. You may be doing really good now, but you got to invest in your learning. Like how can you use cloud to build apps? How can you use Claude or SAP AI to make your configurations go faster? So you got to be on top of your game. I would really suggest that don't sit back on your whatever you have achieved so far, but go dive deeper and learn what is going on in SAP, right? Like say for example a FICO person, right? They can easily dive deeper into what SAP learning is available on AI, and you can actually build some apps with AI, right, on SAP tools or like non SAP tools. But like by doing you're going to learn, right? There are so many free courses and things available that you can learn from, and all across I feel like all educational institutions, companies, everyone's supportive. You got to again, think through like how you started your career and decided, hey, I want to do SAP FICO. But then, what is the logical extension of SAP FICO use case that you want to dive into? Right? Or do you want to be a generalist and learn about what the products are available? But then you need to be able to implement that and create the business value out of that, right? There's a lot of, I feel like, at least if we, I feel like, Gaurav, if we invest like consistently an hour or 2 hours into it on a daily basis, it goes a long way, So that would be my kind of, suggestion to people like who are still on the fringes. But I think the other part of it is like, yeah, there is AI buzz and people talk about, hey, there's AI. And but the real thing is AI happens at that transaction code level or that use case level that you're trying to automate, right? Say, for example, you're talking about invoice entry or you're talking about cash application. Then, okay, there's a money coming into your bank account. How does that money then get applied to the open AR? Right? There's a whole lot of process and invoice matching and things like that. There's a hit rate they talk about and how much is kind of getting automated. Then you go and study that kind of a use case and see, hey, this is how I can use machine learning. This is where I could use like a LLM type of a technique and make this thing go out of SAP, do the calculation, compute, and bring it back in, or maybe do use SAP AI, do that, and then bring it back in into the process flow and make it like agentic, right? But now if you look at that use case, I'm just giving one example, and there are thousands of like things that we do in enterprises. So if I just look at that use case, that is such a specialized thing, and one person, not just one person, but one area that needs to be solved for. Like that, there is logistics, there's manufacturing, there's finance, controlling, product costing. There's like so many use cases, right? So I feel like if all of us are able to really have that AI mindset and really start solving these things, then it makes the bigger picture true for like the larger, like big organizations.
Thank you, Ashish. And maybe like not single person would have all the answers. Also, maybe we collaborate. We call it like tribe, right? So I think you try to learn, try to engage. I think reach out if you see somebody is trying to build something. I always see this on LinkedIn. I'm just making sure I'm kind of keep sharing those ones and maybe reaching out to them because I saw this. I don't know if you saw that N8N. I think there's a SAP bought some kind of a stake there. They're trying to make it part of the Joule Studio 2.0. That's like it lets you like build workflows and then I kind of reach out and I saw somebody already building on it. So I'm trying to, I think it's all we kind of, if we collaborate, if we ask questions, if you see somebody's trying to do something, reach out because I think collectively when we come together, right, we always kind of, we become a stronger, right? So, and the learning part, if you're not learning every day, and there are a lot of resources available by SAP and outside world as well, I think that's not right. So you should be learning at least 30 minutes, if not 1 hour every day. That's what I heard, Ashish, right?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And then plus, I think I totally agree with like one person doesn't know everything. Like say, for example, cybersecurity. I don't have a clue, but it's very, very important. You guys do a lot of amazing work, right? And like how we keep the enterprise data safe. I don't have a clue. So I have to lean on a person like you, Gaurav, to guide me through that. I know what SOX is. I know like how we got to do segregation of duties, like have internal controls. But how do you really make it happen in the system? I know there's SAP all and there's a bunch of other
Yeah,
roles, right?
yeah, yeah.
You gotta figure that out with different people. So all of us have skills, and if when you all collaborate together, then we can make those things happen.
Yeah. In the security word, we say, Ashish, like security is not security response. Security is everybody's responsibility. So the more people like you and your team, the functional people, right? And if they start questioning things, right? So because you would be talking to the business, right? Security would not be there in probably those rooms, right? We talk about S4 transformation. Sometimes cyber is not even the table, right? We're doing S4 transformations. We're still focusing on that whole, you think SOCs and SODs and traditional. So the reason we did this book, I think, with my co-author JP, was this idea of in the SAP world, we have been so compliance and SOX driven, GRC heavy. We kind of are not doing the thing which you should be doing. So GRC is one part of your entire infosec or cyber security. There is a vulnerability management, there's incident response, and there's other layers. The cloud is for us, and now AI security, AI governance, right? So that's where like we need to kind of learn and maybe create like a team, talk to your cybersecurity folks, talk to your functional folks, because and one thing I always love for the SAP world, the way we understand business, you would not find in any other like a non-SAP ecosystem. So even the cybersecurity folks, they are too focused on the technology. But if you are like a SAP kind of a guy and even a SAP security or GRC guy, we are working with business all the time, right? We understand, okay, there's a finance, there's OTC, there's this thing going on. So if you just learn the cyber part of it, and I always feel like you understand finance, you understand GRC, and then you also understand cybersecurity. That's like a deadly combination, right? And then with AI, and but yeah, as you rightly said, we don't have all the answers, so we need to just know and maybe just raise hand. Like this doesn't seems right, right? We're going on S4 transformation. There's a shared responsibility model with SAP. SAP is not going to do everything for you on even on the rise or so you need to know as a customer what's my responsibilities, where the gap is, and how to kind of make sure I have a controls supporting those gaps, right? And it's so much to learn. Even like after Sapphire, I would say I'm still learning and I'm still reading. It's just so much. It's new word, Joule Studio 2.0 coming up. This new Joule work, which seems like a new UI for SAP, and yeah, like then my part is how do I make sure we don't forget about security in the whole agentic and which I part I would say I love about SAP is trying to kind of a go on different route versus other kind of a if you just see other words I don't want to take the name but SAP is trying to bake in the whole governance layer, so you're gonna adopt AI but in a governed way. So I cannot wait to kind of try and see what's coming with the Joule Studio and the whole AI agentic governance framework which they talk about in Sapphire. But yeah, thank you, Ashish. So I think I didn't touch that. I mentioned about the S4 words. Anything for the customer side, right? So we covered the consultant part. So I want to take your kind of a brain on the customer side. So yeah, I'm on S4 transformation journey, or I'm already on S4. I know for SAP Business AI, you have to be on some kind of a S4, and then you can adapt all this new AI which is coming up. Any kind of advice to them? Anything you have seen, Ashish, while working with the customers? Like, do you have to find a balance, like not trying to just run, or like what kind of approach you would recommend to a customer who hasn't done anything on the AI? You say this is still kind of a learning, it's still new for all of us. Do you have to find a middle path, or like what kind of a model you will recommend? Like go all into AI, or take it slow, maybe go with one use case or POC. What's your take on that one, Ashish?
Yeah, I think mainly I feel for customers, right? Learning is very important. Like for them to really equip their organization with what AI can do for them, starting from the leadership and all the way to the analyst and people who are part of these amazing organizations, right? They need to be, I think, thinking about AI as this additional thing that all of us have to do that, right? It's not like some outside consultant is going to come and just implement AI, right? Because it's going to be an organization effort. Like even the co-pilot got implemented in many organizations, and many organizations know there's LLM exists, but how many are really using it on a day basis for the business transformation? Are they really using it to make their businesses more efficient, right? I don't think so that's happening. Adoption of AI is a bit slow, so getting that change management aspect is like very important, and getting everyone excited about AI, right? So the AI use case starts from that chat GPT type of things slash like copilot, and really being able to use it to make yourself more efficient. SAP has already introduced Joule for consultants. Why not use it? Why doesn't like in-house people use it? The consulting teams use it, and how do we make the projects more efficient? So I think that's kind of the learning and the foundational, so that when we get external consultants or teams into doing the projects, then it makes it a nice collaboration, right? And makes it like more efficient to implement the process. And some of the things even in-house teams can make it happen, right? So doesn't mean like, you don't need the consulting partners, but the consulting partners can then add value in terms of what's going on in the industry, and also kind of be on the same page in terms of how we can use the AI to improve and get more efficiencies in the project. Probably the reduced shorter life cycle, right? To time to value is going to improve because we now have AI, we're going to be more efficient. So we can do more in less time and less money, right? That's the way we got to make it real. And also, I think each customer needs to think about what is the problem they can solve, because now I'm thinking like the foundationally they are educated enough about AI, at least a few core team or a strategy team that's there, like, that's kind of thinking very hard of how we can use it for projects, etc. And then we get the consulting partners or like some external help, right? That help you then say, hey, this could be your priority area. Like, say, for example, the cycle count, or like we are having issues with how much time it takes for an order to reach a customer. They say on time and full in delivery, right? What if, how can we improve that kind of a thing? How can we improve the throughput on manufacturing? How can we, like, make a bottom line and the top line better, right? So overall, like really zeroing in on like what is your use case and how we can solve that. Like one of the projects we are doing is around anomaly detection for the orders that are getting blocked, and then how that kind of connects back to AI use cases. AI comes into play with the machine learning and other concepts of AI that helps solve that entire cycle, and the pain that the organization is facing. So first is learning for the customers. Second is, hey, what are my top priorities that possibly AI could solve? And then, okay, which AI to use? That's the other thing, right? Will we
Yeah.
use SAP AI, or will SAP AI call an external AI and help solve that problem? So I feel like getting into it, we can really kind of see the real use case and see the value that's coming in, right? So I feel for customers from an AI standpoint, that would be the messaging. But also like in general, the S4 HANA implementations we do, that's changing a lot. And the kind of threats that are coming to us right now, Gaurav, that has changed a lot from a cyber standpoint, say, for example, right? Like today I was reading that Claude was able to break into a M5 computer from Apple within 5 days, right?
Mhm.
So the new challenges are going to come. So, but we cannot sit back and say, oh, nothing like I can just do BAU, right? It's not going to be BAU. We got to evolve with the changing time. If, okay, that doesn't hit you, your competition can hit you. A new business model will come in that are going to make the organization so much more efficient. And if you don't change, then that's going to be a challenge from a customer standpoint.
Yeah, this is a new word. I'm glad you mentioned about cybersecurity and the new model. Even the cloud, they had this model Mythos, which is so powerful. They kind of have a different project Glasswing going on, and they added all this Apple and Microsoft just to maybe test their operating system first and secure it before it becomes a public and GA, right? So yeah, this is a new word, and we need to adapt and learn, and yeah, be ready for it. So I'm trying to start I think another. I would say the last section of the podcast is some rapid fire questions, Ashish. You'll be my first to try that. We'll see how it goes, and if you like it or don't like it. But before I go there, any last kind of a comment or anything you want to share before we go on a rapid fire
No, I think it's
to
been
our
a great,
audience?
yeah, no, great discussion here, Gaurav, and would love to like stay in touch and continue to collaborate with you. And wherever I can support you, or likewise, maybe like when I do my organization grows bigger, or do the SAP implementation, which I'm planning to. So I'll lean on you as a good friend, to take your support. And for the audience, thanks for listening to us, and can get into the rapid fire.
Okay, okay, thank you, and I would love to. I guess as I said, I will be texting you and reaching out to you just to know about other things we talk. So I know you are a leader leading a company, so I would try to start with something from that side. So, what did corporate life teach you that entrepreneurship will never could?
I think the professionalism and also how to be on time and get things done. And what matters is getting things done ultimately, yeah.
Okay. How do you or leaders stay calm during all this kind of a new word, new threats, and the ever's kind of a you don't know where the business are going. So how do you stay calm and compose and still kind of navigating that whole challenge?
I think mainly like keep your eyes on the financials always and have a backup plan. Like if this doesn't work, then how we're going to manage that. But at the same time, having this grit and determination and being spiritually stronger on an everyday basis. I think that those are the two things I would say.
Okay. This may be more fun side. Coffee, chai, or energy drink during go live weekends.
Coffee would be the one. And when I mix it up, like sometimes chai and sometimes energy drink, I try to avoid that. Yeah.
Okay. Most stressful SAP cutover moment you have experienced.
I think there was like a very elongated cutover, and some of the financials were not tying out. So we were there for many days to kind of make sure that everything matches. But I'm glad the customer side leadership team was very supportive and kind of, continued to support through that very challenging time.
Okay. I know we said five. Yeah. So one piece of advice for young professionals entering SAP and AI world.
I would say like there's a world which is waiting for to see like what you can make it happen for them. And I think no dream is very big. You can achieve everything. With everything, the world will collude or the universe will collude towards making it happen. But I think it's up to you, like, how you go with the open arms and really put the effort and make the causes to make it happen. So I feel like just go for it and don't let anyone tell you like, hey, you're not good enough or you can't make it happen, right? So that would be my advice to the young people.
Thank you. Thank you, Ashish. So I think we did five. I will probably add one more just for me. Any advice for or anything you want to see on our or any special guests you would love to see on our Cyber Career podcast? Like if you have to say, I really want to know more about this world, even from the cyber, you say cybersecurity from SAP. Anything for me or Cyber Career?
Mainly, I think you're doing a great job. I think I really enjoyed it, Gaurav, and you have a very easygoing attitude in terms of asking questions. I never felt the tensions; they were very natural, flowing. I think that was great. But in general, I think there's a very good friend of mine. His name is Rakesh Rajput. You should get him on the podcast. He's an ex IBM associate partner, and now he's with Salesforce. He's a VP with Salesforce. If he has he's an amazing guy. I've done one podcast with him, but in general, like any of the cool people from SAP leadership team, Roger Federer would be the dream guy. Maybe sometime you got his autograph. That's pretty
Yeah,
cool,
yeah,
though.
yeah, yeah. I got his autograph. I have it. Yeah, yeah. I think
Yeah.
you kind of you are I would say my lucky charm because we talked about that before that keynote, right? And I think and I love that whole video. I have a video where I'm saying I want to try to get an autograph from him, and then finally I got it. So if you can dream it, you can do it, right?
That was amazing. I thought, okay, you're saying it, but I think it's quite impossible. But you were there, determined, and you went up there and you got it. I saw that,
Yeah,
many people were there. It's pretty
yeah,
cool.
yeah. So here's
Wow.
Roger Federer. Yeah. So this is like my copy of my book. So I tried to maybe I think I missed to get your autograph. Actually, maybe next time we'll meet.
No.
We'll
Yeah.
get your autograph. This is like my version of my book, and I have I don't know my loved ones and the people who inspires me, right? Just to kind of as my way of trying to I don't know maybe when I'm older and we're still here, we'll probably will cherish those moments, right?
Wow. No, really
Yeah.
amazing, Gaurav. Thanks. You yourself are a very inspiring guy. So I wish you all the best. And I'm sure we'll be in touch and, let's talk more.
Thank you, Ashish. Thank you for coming on the show, and yeah, we'll be in touch. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.